In the fall of 2015, a group of Skidmore College students decided to start a video game development club. They had no funding for equipment and no pre-existing game engine at their disposal, but they put shared ideas into action. It's now 2016. For the club, a budget has been granted and an engine has been made. This is an account of that club's members and the ways in which they started FreeKing Studios.
I'm Evan Makis, the lead software developer, one of two, and the president of FreeKing Studios. Well, it's been very interesting. We're developing our own engine in-house using Java, the programming language, because that's what's taught here. So it's been interesting. Rather than taking something that was pre-built and using it, we thought that it would be a better experience for the programmers. It would help them to learn better if we built it all from the ground up.
So yeah, I'm Ben Doolittle. I'm the head of story writing. Art and story writing and design were really a little ahead of the software department right at the beginning because the software guys had to develop the engine from scratch. So it was interesting, we were all talking together about the kind of game we wanted to make and what it would look like and how it would feel to be in the world. But the cooperation between all the departments is really starting to come and it just kind of came together naturally.
Yo, well, my name is Kit Woof and I am the head of the art department. Well, of course, I'm sure you can imagine with artists it's quite difficult because everyone wants to do their own thing, and I want to encourage that. And so what I really try to do is I ask people, what do you want to do? You know, what are you in here for this club for? And then I try to set them in something that's relevant to that. So for example, we have Jonathan, who really wants to do headshots. I said, brilliant, you're in charge of headshots. You know, we get a bunch of people who say, I don't know what I want to do, and I say, okay, great, we're going to put you in charge of this. And so we have a person in charge of the character sprites, we have a person in charge of the textures, etc., etc. And this gives a kind of consistency across certain elements, such as the people sprites should all be similar, and the headshots should all be similar. And it also means that people, you know, get to do what they love, and when a person gets to take responsibility for such a big part of the game, they really feel like they put themselves into it, and like they've really made this part of the game, and I think that really motivates people to feel as if they've actually accomplished something rather than sitting around and coming to the club for menial work.
I'm Yorgos. I am Vice President and Lead Game Designer for FreeKing Studios. So my department is kind of overseeing most of the other departments. So as game designer, I make sure that everything fits together and that everything is cohesive. What we've been trying to implement is the game design document where everything just comes together and we have lists of assets and lists of objects and lines and scripts for software and sprites, sounds, music files that need to go into the game and where they need to go into the game and why they need to go into the game. And that brings everyone up to speed to what we need to be doing at any given time.
This semester's been a lot different because we have a running engine now. And what that means is that instead of coding simple things like how objects collide in our world or how art is displayed to the screen, it's more about actual gameplay mechanics. We're doing things now like interactions between players, artificial intelligence that'll be populating our world. And that's really, it's made it more fun because lots of people, you like to think about the building of the game, the meat of the gameplay that's going to be taking place. And it's been great too, actually, because it's allowed for more interconnectivity and more conversation between our team and others.
It's a very, very pixely style. We wanted to go with something that would be simple enough for people to be able to create it at a low level, but at the same time complex enough that we could communicate, you know, the environment around. And so we haven't started standardizing color palettes yet, but what we're going to do that later. In the meantime, it's very simple. We do have some very beautiful textures coming out, but the people themselves are designed to be quite characteristic. And we've got some, like I said, we've got some wonderful headshots coming along for where you really need the detail to capture the scene. And overall, I think it's going to be a great experience.
The time I spent over break, just playing games, really helped me understand what needed to go into writing a game and the kind of delegation I would have to do as a lead to actually get this done. So, trusting in my team members to go off and just write the dialogue for an area on their own without everyone working together. And now I'm getting a sense that we need to work a little more individually.
So the first semester was a little bit experimental. We're getting our feet wet with what it meant to make a game. So most of the things were not really in scope, or they were not really in focus. In the second semester, we're more focused on what we need to be doing.
So as far as software goes, the biggest challenge and kind of the best moment was Ben saying that decision, we're going to build our own engine. And it was one of those things, it's easy to scoff at that. That's a big ambition. And it was really hard to do, and it took a lot of work from a lot of people. But the first time we clicked run and it displayed something to the screen and there was somebody walking around, that was one of the best moments. On the other side of things, as a president and the founder of the club, one of the biggest challenges was getting the thing going. When it started, it was I got in contact, or Yorgos got in contact with me, and we had a conversation about if this could happen, and then other people came who we knew were interested in it. We approached a lot of people, but not knowing if it could get started, if it could get fueled. And this all came to a head during the first club fair when we went out. We set out to get our signatures, and we got all 300 signatures in 1 2-hour period, and we had an auditorium full. It was that was a really big moment.
Well, it's firstly Pokemon, like I said. Secondly, it's going to sound really cheesy, but honestly, artists around me are really what inspire me, and none of that comes out more than when I'm working in the club, because I'll get people coming in who are super experienced and churning out these works of art that I look at and I kind of think, I want to achieve that. And at the same time, I also get people coming in who are saying, I've never sprited before in my life. In fact, fun fact, I don't believe that anyone who is currently on the spriting team has ever done any spriting, and those are all assets that you're going to be seeing in the game. And it's incredible because I get people coming up to me and saying, hey, can you teach me how to sprite? And by the end of the session, they created a beautiful texture that just had my jaw dropping. And that made me think, wow, if a beginner can do that, and someone with talent can do this, think what I can do.
What we're doing is shaping the way the game will run, but not the gameplay itself. But it's been interesting to take inspiration from things like, way back when I used to play the game Heroes 3. It had a map maker, and now the map maker that we have made to work with our game is much like that map maker. I used to play Warcraft 3, and it had a trigger event system, and that got brought into the game. So looking around for good ideas that have been out there in terms of making games and making sure that our engine has those features. But then also making those features available and mutable, making it easy for them to be adapted to other games in the future.
Well, as I said, this has been more of an experimental year and more of a getting our feet wet, seeing how the community responds to a club like this and a community like this. I see a lot more interaction with the general audience, a lot more trying to connect with the people who want to make games but don't really have the time to invest every week for one specific game, but may want to make a game every, say, a month, maybe make their own team, have their own ideas on the board, more game jams, more events, more just branching out, and instead of being a game company, being a game community.